Last summer, I finally got around to watching Paris, Texas at the amazing Prince Charles Cinema in London, and even if the film doesn't ring a bell, then there's a good chance that you may have at least seen this still from the film. It's the shot that gets used most often when the film is included in top 100 lists or films you have to see before you die, so for that reason I really wanted to just tick it off my list. But that was last summer, and in the time since, there's been a thought brewing in my head that I feel like I can only really articulate now after some time has passed, and it's just that Paris, Texas feels like the antithesis to TikTok and all of social media really. And I'm saying that as someone who is completely addicted to these apps. I can't stop sending and sharing Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. They're fun in the moment, but after about a month, I've forgotten about them completely. Paris, Texas, on the other hand, is absolutely seared into my brain because it commands your attention and not in any superficial way. At nearly 2.5 hours, the film is definitely quite a long one and it's best paired with a cup of coffee, but it's in the way that the film is shot that really commands your attention. When the film opens up, we are introduced to our unlikely protagonist, Travis Henderson, who doesn't say a word as he emerges from the desert in search of sustenance. The introduction of any context to the situation is delayed by quite a bit, so if you want to find out how Travis even got into this situation or why he refuses to speak, then you have to pay attention. Eventually the film reveals itself to be a family drama about a mother, a father and a son who have all splintered off to different parts of the US and the repercussions of that family breakdown. Even though it's a tenuous situation, the film tries to avoid big outbursts of emotion as it relies on smaller, quieter moments of recovery as the family tries to mend itself. It's the type of story that's told on the faces of these actors, and there's no scrolling over to the next piece of content here. You really have to hone in on their facial expressions to really get as much out of the film as possible. And in no part is this more evident than in the film's big final scene, the one that is alluded to in that aforementioned still. This is where Travis finally reunites with his wife Jane, but not quite. Without spoiling the scene itself, all you have to know is that within its framing, Travis can see Jane, but she can't see him, as the conversation is taking place in a peep show club where clientele are given anonymity. As a result, there's barely any movement in this scene as it takes place in such a small and confined area, and for Travis to speak, he has to be sat next to a nearby phone. For a good portion here, the camera remains fixed with very little movement from the actors, so in order to carry yourself through the scene, you really have to hone in on what's being said. In a modern context, you'll find yourself immersed in the drama whilst also trying to fight back against the urge for constant stimulation that we all now have to deal with. You can't quickly swipe away to something else. This is what's happening in front of you and you have to engage with it. In this way, the film is a great test of your ability to focus, which is why I do recommend seeing it in a cinema. It's always far too easy to reach for your phone if you're watching something from your living room, unless you put it in a different room completely. But that's how I feel about Paris, Texas, and if you have any recommendations for other films that fit into this slow burn category, then let me know in the comments below, and above all, thanks for watching.